Hey, welcome. Today we're going to dive into a piece of ancient wisdom that is so on point it literally took modern neuroscience 3,000 years to figure out why it's true. And the answer? Well, it's hardwired right into your brain. For thousands of years, ancient texts like the Book of Proverbs have been telling us that wisdom is the ultimate price. And, it's an idea that feels right, doesn't it? It sounds so noble. We're told it's worth more than anything else we could ever want. But what if that was just the warm-up act? What if that same ancient book held a secret to something even more specific, something even more precious than just wisdom itself? Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of it all, an ancient value puzzle. It pits two very, very different kinds of treasure against each other. Here it is. There is gold and a multitude of rubies, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel. Now, on the surface, that's a beautiful thought, right? That sharing knowledge is more valuable than a pile of cash. But if that's really true, why is it so incredibly hard for us to act that way? The thing is, the answer isn't about willpower. It's about a fundamental problem with our wiring.
To really get why this is such a struggle, we've got to look under the hood at our own cognitive wiring. It turns out our brains have a serious shiny object problem.
And this is exactly where the internal fight starts. Think about it. Gold and rubies, they're visible. You get that reward right away, and they trigger a big emotional hit. But the lips of knowledge? It's an idea. It's abstract. The reward is often way down the line, and you have to think about it. Our brains are just not designed to treat these two things as equals, not even close. And this brings us to a specific name for this glitch in our thinking. It's called salience bias. It's our brain's built-in reflex to get mesmerized by whatever is flashy, loud, and right in our face, while completely ignoring the quiet stuff, even if that quiet stuff is way more important. And get this, we can actually see where this battle goes down. Deep inside your brain's reward center, there's a little spot called the nucleus accumbens, and when it sees one of these shiny, immediate rewards, it just gets flooded with dopamine. It's the part of your brain that lights up and screams, "I want that," long before the logical part of your brain has even had a chance to wake up and weigh the options.
So, here's the truly mind-blowing part. The people who wrote Proverbs, they didn't have fMRI machines. They couldn't see the nucleus accumbens light up. But they watched people so closely, so carefully, that they perfectly diagnosed salience bias 3,000 years ago, and they wrote a proverb to warn us all about it.
But look, this isn't just some abstract brain theory. This bias has real-world consequences. Let's take a look at the very high price of choosing glitz over actual substance. I want you to meet B-San, a talented pro who's at a classic career crossroads, a situation I'm sure a lot of us have been in. B-San has two completely different job offers to choose from. Okay, so Company X is pure gold and rubies. It's got the incredible lobby, the famous projects, all the latest gear, all the stuff you'd want to brag about. It looks amazing. Then there's Company Y, the lips of knowledge. Way less flash, but so much more substance. A real-deal training plan, regular one-on-ones with a mentor, and a culture where it's actually safe to mess up and learn something. So, predictably, B-San's salience bias just kicks into high gear. The shiny, obvious perks of Company X were just too powerful to resist. The decision was made. So what happened? Well, 6 months later, B-San was absolutely miserable. That impressive lobby was just a lobby. Without the systems for learning and communication, the lips of knowledge, there was no actual growth. B-San felt totally stuck and had massive regrets. This is just a perfect illustration of what the proverb warns us about. The flashy, surface-level stuff, the gold and rubies, completely hid the real, long-term value that was waiting in the other offer. So, how in the world do we fight back against a problem that's thousands of years old and literally built into our brains? Well, lucky for us, modern psychology gives us a really simple, practical tool we can use. It's a simple if-then plan. Here's the rule. If you feel that powerful, emotional gut pull toward the shiny option, then you immediately hit the brakes. You declare a personal 24-hour cooldown period, and you forbid yourself from making the final call for one whole day. That's it. That is the entire hack. And why is this little trick so incredibly effective? Because that simple delay acts like a circuit breaker. It gives that initial emotional rush time to fade away. And as that impulse dies down, your logical brain, the prefrontal cortex, can finally log on. This creates the mental space you need to see past the shiny glare and actually evaluate the less obvious factors that are often way more valuable in the long run.
So the goal here isn't to reject all the good things in life. No, the goal is actually much smarter than that. It's all about recalibrating your inner compass.
And let's be really clear about this. This is not a lesson about ignoring money or resources. Gold and rubies are still valuable. The goal here isn't rejection, it's proper valuation.
So here's the mental model you can use. First, look at the material stuff, the gold. Then, separately, look at the learning and growth stuff, the knowledge. And when you go to make your final choice, you have to consciously, intentionally give the lips of knowledge a heavier weight in that equation.
Which, of course, brings us right back to where we started. That proverb, it just lands with so much more power now. It's not just some pretty saying, it's a precise cognitive instruction for making better decisions in a world that is full of shiny distractions.
And that leaves us with one final, really important question to ask ourselves. Take a look at your own life, your career, your goals, your relationships. What are the shiny gold and newbies that might be distracting you right now from the truly precious jewel, the lips of knowledge?